Hold on. Hey, everybody, welcome to Boss Rush. We are here, of course, as always, on Friday afternoons. Sorry that we're a little late to the jump here. I am actually live streaming from my home office. I had to go ahead and get the entire setup working over here on this side for today, taking care of a little homeowner stuff today, but we're here. We're all together. My name is Chris Melisinos. I'm the host of Boss Rush, longtime game industry nerd, and happy to be here with my four co-hosts, two of whom are there, or three co-hosts, rather. I'm the fourth co-host. Here with us from DICE, we have Mr. right at the top next to me.
Dean Takahashi. I'm the editorial director at GamesBeat, and yeah, I'm still in Vegas after the DICE Summit here.
That's right, and not Vegas, but in her lair over there in the UK. Who do we have with us? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're on mute.
It's always something, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yes, I am in dreary, rainy, soon to maybe be snowing Wales. This is Susan Cummings. I run 10-6 games, and I'm very jealous that I'm not with you guys at DICE.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, and the second dice roll that we have here. Look at that. See how I turned it into.
Oh, nice. Hi from DICE, where I have used my entire DICE wellness kit this year. I'm very proud. I'm Mark DeLaura, and I'm a longtime game industry, also nerd, exec director at the GDC Festival, which is happening in 4 weeks, which is another reason I'm working my way through the DICE wellness kit.
And I was about to say, do you need to rest up that voice? That is a wonderful mic voice, but oh my goodness. Yeah,
it's a little brutal this year.
So good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump to now. I may have to pop out of the live stream here, but when I do, my co-hosts here, I'm sure, will continue the conversation while I'm gone and say all sorts of terrible things about me while I'm away, which is perfectly fine and acceptable. But yeah, let's go ahead and why don't we talk, before we get to the news, give us an update on DICE. How has the conference been this year? Let's hear about what was most surprising, or things that you thought were going to absolutely happen or be true and kind of hit it right on the head. So tell us, how was DICE?
Well, it was a bit hard to tell, where all the people were. I mean, it was the usual problem, I think, where more and more people are migrating into the bars where they're not paying for the conference, but they're taking advantage of all the networking, and then the people inside are less plentiful. It's still a very big magnet for all of the talent and game developers in the industry, and so I think there were still lots of people collectively there across all the different bars and restaurants and the actual conference. But there were a couple of times, I think, when everybody gathered in the event, and you could see there were there was a sizable crowd there, especially at the beginning when they had 4 different sort of creativity related sessions, and then a tribute to Vince Zampella, the former Electronic Arts executive and Respawn founder, who passed away in December. They actually had a really moving sort of tribute from where they tapped many of the sort of DICE board members and regulars who were friends of Zampella.
Yeah, I only found out about that after the fact. I think there were some news stories about that today, of that, and what just an absolute tragedy, and I'm glad that colleagues, friends were able to celebrate Vince and his contributions to our industry, and of course our heart goes out to his family and friends, and
yeah, it was extremely well done. What was really noticeable was that it was the whole thing was created with such care, and that the people who spoke about it were also Vince's family. They felt it, and then the audience felt it. I really have to take off my hat to the AIS and to Megan and her team for how they talked about Vince at the show.
It's incredible that it's like when with Carter's passing last year in GDC, like how long we've all been together in this industry, and as awful as the reason is for gathering in both cases, it's just there's something really nice and special about how everyone comes together and stuff. I mean, I didn't know Vince very well. I knew when he was at Ripcord, like long before his Call of Duty days. That's when I remember him from, and lost touch with. But it's like these are people like we all grew up around each other, so it's really sad.
Yeah, you mentioned our friend and brother and family member Carter Lipscomb, and this time of year is, I think a lot of us, that's what he'll be forever kind of locked into this period of time, right? Every calendar year around DICE and GDC. And so, and that's why it's important that we do get together to have these kind of conversations, that we do, look back on our careers and the work that we're doing right now, and thankful, grateful to be able to continue doing that, and to get to work with and see awesome colleagues and friends every week, right? Work's always going to be work, and there's always going to be stress and everything else, but it's just important to take stock of the people around you, and don't hesitate to tell people around you that you love them, and that you're there for them too, just like I love you all. And again, it's a privilege to get to spend time with you all and the people that join us every week. So, all right. So thanks for sharing.
I'll say, I think one of the noticeable things for me this year for DICE, and we, Megan, I think, has changed the format of the content every year. And this year was intending to have significantly less talks, because we do see that people aren't coming to the talks. They want to meet each other, and they're taking meetings and doing business, which is great. But DICE has, I think, traditionally been such an interesting place for us to come together and feel like we're having a conversation, a unified conversation from the community, by the community, that I always feel like it's necessary to have at least a little bit of content. And so I was happy to see what they did this year was, my brain is not working. So I'm going to forget Randy Pitchford emceed a group of 4, I want to call them up and coming game developers, which is not completely accurate, but really developers who'd made some really creative titles. And they came out and each talked about 10 or 15 minutes about what they were doing. And some of them were just amazing. I mean, like the game was amazing, but then the presentation was also amazing. Jenny, who made Consume Me, sticks out in my head for coming out and basically saying, like, I made this game. It was a really hard experience, and I didn't make any money off of it, but it was amazing. Let me tell you all about it, and then put up her Venmo link and said, if you want to Venmo me to my Duke Wellington fund, here's my Venmo.
I love that.
Yeah, it took her 10 years to make, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so did you find that what made their presentations so wonderful too, not just the content, but like the passion and excitement and like, you know,
that's really what came through.
Right. Fresh eyes about, oh, look at what we're going to be able to do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So many newer developers, 10 years. I don't know. Is that a newer developer? They try things that I would never have thought of trying. They make games that I would never have thought we could make. And so you see somebody get up there and talk about, well, let me tell you all about the game that I made with crazy, wiggle arm art. And it sort of talks about my family and history. And just like, I love this so much. I mean, I've got Consume Me on my desktop here and have for like a month. Nice. It's just like fascinating. So yeah, I love that. They did a great job. So that was the extent of the content, really. It was like Megan kicked it off, the 4 short talks, the tribute to Vince, and then we were out, and off into workshops and roundtables and networking. So that was great.
So a lot fewer direct presentations and more roundtables and meetings, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. That feels right.
Yeah, I enjoyed the talk from the lead writer on Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It was her name was Jennifer Svedberg-Yen, and she talked about the different core elements and skills of being a creative person, and it's very well articulated. I thought her belief in what it takes to be creative and flesh out characters and create the logic of a world, and they won Game of the Year again last night. Claire Obscure is above 400 Game of the Year wins in the past year.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
It may be the most decorated game in video game history, I think, right? Wow. And one of the things she mentioned that sort of struck me was, like, she said, you should, to be creative in your work, you should live as rich a life outside of work as you do inside your work. And then I thought about that, and I go like, well, I work all the time. And then I thought, well, and then I interviewed her later, and I asked her this question too. But I also sort of find, a lot of satisfaction, and I think I'm still at least creative in my journalism work, because somewhere along the line, this work turned into fun for me, right? And the people in the industry I interviewed, they became more like family. And I talk to different people every day. I talk to all the sort of creative people in the industry, and they're very inspiring to talk to. And so I think I don't know if I'm an exception to her rule that you have to have this rich life outside of work. I do have a rich life with family outside of work, but I think finding sort of joy in your work is also part of being creative, I think. So.
Yeah. Hey, gang, do me a favor. Absolutely. I'm going to ask that you continue the conversation. I will be right back. So keep it going.
All right. Yeah. Well, do you want to talk more about the awards?
Yeah.
I was just going to echo what Dean said. I think it's absolutely true. I've been trying to explain that to my son recently, that, it's like when you really truly love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work, and you don't want to avoid it. You look forward to it. And so I consider myself really lucky that I've managed to make a life out of an industry that's just so much fun, and I'm not doing, some boring day job that you leave every night. Like I probably work too much, and I don't really know what downtime is, but but there's something really wonderful about that, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Your work is, yeah, your work is your play. I mean, I think I had a couple conversations with people at Dice after her talk. Actually, somebody leaned over next to me and was like, yeah, but you know, working on your passion, sometimes when you work on your passion and you do it for money, it turns into the job. It starts to feel like a job. So trying to find that balance, like how, you know, yeah, it was an interesting conversation. And I've had that experience as well. But then I'm with you, Dean. I mean, I'm pretty much immersed in game related something nonstop and working with friends and family, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Mark, you're like one of the weirdos like me who's married to someone else in the industry, you know.
Exactly.
And
Right.
in my case, someone I've managed to work with now for nearly 30 years. And it's a wonderful thing when everything is going great and you can celebrate your wins together. When things don't go well, it's really trying to figure out how to separate yourself from it and how to be able to be human beings and not just be sucked up in your work.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the problem is too, I think when we make the stuff that we are passionate about, our jobs, and get to work in it, it's hard to find that line sometimes, because you're like, no, I'm doing this because I love this thing. Just 1 more minute, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. Yeah, but it is very important to make sure that we, you know, time bound those things. Before we move on to, I wanted to mention something. When you're talking about all the awards that Claire Obscure won, rightly so, absolutely, you know, deserved. I do love, though, how our industry and community and you know, players and stuff will rally around some of the craziest things. For example, the Cory in the House game for the Nintendo DS, I think, is the second highest rated user rated game on Metacritic right now, sitting at 9.4%, because the audience decided to just lean into rating it as such. And why this is funny for me specifically is I have been griefing my oldest daughter with Cory in the House memes for the past decade plus, to the point where when she went back to school, back at university, I had taken one of her binders and I went about 100 pages into it. And then I printed out like 100 pages of Cory's head and made them and basically put them in every other page. So I get this video one day. She's like, I'm sitting in a lecture hall and she's like, and look what my dad did. And it's just literally page after page of Cory from Cory in the House there. And I mean, like, I would tuck them into her, like, her belongings as she was going back to school, or hid them in places inside of her car. So she'd open the glove box or pull down the visor and a piece of paper would flip down with Cory's head saying, drive carefully, you know, that kind of thing. Oh my God, it's so good. But yeah, 9.4 on 8,100 user ratings for Cory in the House. So ratings, you know, are a thing. And those awards are a thing, but oh my goodness, yes. And it's a party every week, baby. If you ever watch Cory in the House, you know, it's a party.
I don't even know what that is. I gotta go look now.
It's the son of the chef at the White House, basically.
Okay.
And it's you know, it's when you're raising kids, that's the stuff you watch. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah, now I'll have to point her to the live. To go ahead and look at it.
The link. Let's see. So Claire Obscure, of course, won a bunch of awards in Game of the Year and Game Direction, but Blueprints also won a bunch. Death Stranding,
a couple of awards. They spread it out a little better, you know, and this was from the, you know, up to 30,000 members of the AIAS Academy there who voted, and they did, you know, not give all the awards to Claire Obscure. And, you know, it was also interesting. They gave a Hall of Fame award to Evan Wells, who was one of the co-founders and top leaders at Naughty Dog for many years until more recently, where he's more like a executive chairman, I guess. And I got a chance to interview Evan after he won the award, and Neil Druckmann did a very good job, you know, sort of paying a tribute to Evan. And I asked, you know, like I said, you know, I like your early games for sure, But when you guys made Uncharted 2, like I felt like it went up a whole level. Like the cinematic experience of that game and the storytelling and sort of this immersion in this kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Tomb Raider like world, right? It was so much better, I thought. And then he said, one interesting thing they did was they were very rushed trying to get Uncharted out. It came out like 9 months after the PlayStation 3, and it was hard game to make, new technology, cell processor was tough, and so he said they were nominated for 7 awards for that game, Uncharted, um, uh, but they didn't win any of them. And then they were kind of sort of dejected, sitting around a table, and just kind of deflated from losing everything in the award show. And then they said, never again. we're we're gonna come back next time. We're gonna take these awards, and we're gonna have to go figure out what it takes to build a company that can do that. So I thought it was a very interesting sort of experience related.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
yeah, you don't live for these awards, but the awards do serve a purpose of
Yeah.
motivating you.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do. I have mine sitting right back there, right in the middle of all my
Oh.
things right there.
Yay.
I don't know. Mark has his on display in the office. Of course, at least let you, because when you forget sometimes of the stuff you did or you worked on, you're just like, oh yeah, okay, that was very, very nice. So yes, of course, awards are important, right? Celebrating each other, important. So,
Yep. Yep.
you know.
I think
very
of
good.
the
All right.
awards, one of the ones, there were categories for sure where I was like, man, I haven't played any of these. And it's so great. Like I got stuff to do, which I'm kind of excited about. But then one category in particular really struck me, which was the sports game of the year. And I haven't played sports games for a long time. Where when I was younger, I used to play them all the time. And I'm looking at the category, and it's EA Sports, FC, PGA Tour, 2K, MLB The Show, which is Sony, NBA, 2K, and then something called Rematch, which I've never heard of. And I was like, huh. But then they showed Rematch. They showed trailer videos of all these, and Rematch was like soccer reinvented. It was like the camera is down on the play field. There were crazy augmented reality style graphical pop-ups all over the thing. I was just like, what the heck is that? That looks crazy and fun. And it won. And I was like, yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
And then what they need to do is have a VR mode where you can sit on the ball and just have everybody vomiting, right? Because
yeah, I feel a little bit like, for me, that like sports games have gone towards realism, and not being a huge sports guy. When something shows up that's like different, like it's so exciting. I just get super excited about the innovation. So good job, Rematch team.
No, I love that too. I mean, look, the fact is, right? Ready to Rumble Boxing, NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, right? I mean, those are the Daytona versions of Daytona for racing game, right?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. Highly accessible sports games for people who don't play sports, right?
Yeah.
And those that do, I'm not,
I know, and all those other games are freaking amazing, right? They're beautiful, and all these licensed actual players, and and people love all of those. But for me, like seeing something different was really exciting.
Well, I'll share one quick thing with you all. Since we're talking about sports games and licensed, players and stuff like that. Friends of ours, their son went on to play in the NFL. And when he signed his first contract for his first team, there was a neighborhood party that was going on, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Melasinos." I was like, "Oh yeah, buddy, congratulations, that's awesome that you were signed." He's like, "No, I'm in the next Madden game." Like he's like, my stats suck, because I'm just getting started. He's like, but now I'm in a Madden game, and his mom was just like, yeah, like. That is just as big in his head for him, right? As it is playing in the NFL. I'm like,
That's
good
awesome.
job, man.
That's so cool.
I love it. I love it. All right.
I do have one
Good.
one weird standout. Well, weird to me.
Mhm.
Chris, Susan, have you heard of a guy named Johnny Galvatron?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, I hadn't heard of him. Had never seen him before. He's the creator of the mixtape game, which I'm like, come on, ship the mixtape game because it looks great. Holy cow, is he entertaining?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him speak twice, and I was just like, who is this guy? And how can I hear him talk more? Yeah, gave one of the short presentations, and then he did a little bit at the awards, to give out a couple of the awards. Like the breath of fresh air. Where did this guy come from?
He's out of what, New Zealand? He's a former actual rock star, right? And that was how
Is he really?
I just looked him up,
career as a musician,
what a good
right?
dude.
But then,
Here he is.
He makes all of the sort of the games that sort of start out with musical inspiration, right? Like the Artful Escape about a guitarist, right? And then mixtape is about the sort of the memories you have from childhood of making mixtapes. And I interviewed him as well. He's very entertaining, and
We need to get him on.
that, like one of the movies he had really admired a whole lot was Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? And he said what was unique about that movie was it started with musical inspiration, like John Williams and his little snippet of sound, which was do 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 do, right? And then like, what can you do with this? Is sort of what Spielberg did to make this Close Encounters movie, and so there aren't as many people I think like this who get into the position of running a studio and being creative directors, maybe who have those roots in a different part of skills that it takes to make games. So like there's music, Glenn Schofield is another example of somebody who's very unique because he started out as an artist, right? And then went on to run different studios. So yeah, he's very, very unique and entertaining person.
Yeah,
for sure.
It kind of reminded me of Cliffy B and Tommy Tallarico. The personality on the stage. I was like, man, we're all in suits and ties, and I'm in a suit and tie. So yeah, it's just the energy in the room was so different. I was like, yeah, more of that.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, listen, we are coming up to the top of the hour. So why don't we go ahead and jump? So thanks for the recap on DICE and those highlight beats. So why don't we go ahead and jump into some of our news? I think one of the big ones that popped up here for me was Strauss Zelnick talking about the mobile bookings for Take-Two. So Dean, maybe you can tell us a bit more about, I know we talked about that before, but then the other one that I wanted to mention too was it's not just this story, but the his comment about the Gemini 3 model dropping and confusion about what was the market doing, like right to tech stocks or to game
showing
stocks
how much
as a
they
result of
understand
that.
about our industry. That's
Yes.
Yeah, they it was true that Google drops this demo of Genie 3 technology, which is taking text and generating a game from it through generative AI. And when it came out, the stocks for game companies fell. Like Take-Two stock was down, Roblox was down, and everybody's going like, oh no, we're going to get our games from AI, and all these companies are obsolete now. So our game developers, it's like totally jumping the gun and thinking that this is a really significant.
It was a really good opportunity to buy Take-Two stock though before GTA.
Yeah,
Just saying, I definitely participated in that.
Yeah, and this is not financial advice, and none of us are lawyers, so
No. And I've been gone from there for many years. But,
Yeah, Bill Young just popped in and said, so which dip are we buying? I say caramelized French onion dip. That's what we're buying. What was your question, Bill?
But, yeah, I don't know. So Strauss, addresses, I think everybody realizes that, like, whatever gets generated, maybe when you're walking forward, it does look like a very nice looking game, right? But the second you turn around and look backward, there's nothing there. And it's
Right.
like it's so not advanced that, they don't have enough memory to make a complete world, right? And so they're only guiding you through some kind of forward movement, and you turn
Right.
around and there's no game there, right? and
It's
so
like
so far
the
from being
the-
real.
the thing that Andreessen kept posting when it came out. Do you remember the Doom thing? It's like, oh, this
Yes.
is
Oh,
it's
yeah,
everything.
right.
They need Doom and AI.
Yeah, but that's when,
But
yeah,
I'm drinking the AI Kool-Aid, but AI can't make games. It's not making games. It's not about that. And
right. But the stuff that you're
People get
doing,
their
which we're
heads
going
out
to
of that.
talk about, the new build and the stuff, because I've had a chance to play your game, is but that's the way you use AI, which enhances the space, right? Allows you to create the customization. But to say we're going to one-shot GTA with a single prompt, it's like, you are. Tell me more about how you're doing that.
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
they're gonna make a better GTA 6 than GTA 6.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Easy.
We
No,
did
it's,
it. I mean, it got 5 degrees warmer outside all of a sudden, but we did it. It just
The lights dimmed in your house. He's playing GTA 6 again.
I mean, Zanuk's fairly calm about all this, and I think he's still expecting GTA 6 to come out on November 19th. He noted that mobile gaming was up almost across the board for them. Like, it was up 19% as a business. The advertising revenue was up like 10%. They had Toon Blast up 43%. They're just live games. Like, everything was up for them on the mobile side, and that's encouraging because mobile kind of led the collapse and downturn. I think when Apple prioritized privacy over targeted advertising, and so the way mobile games were getting users through advertising just kind of collapsed. So some of that is coming back. They've learned how to do things, in a better way through long-term relationships with players over decades now, and they cross-sell them. So I think it's encouraging to see them coming back. Roblox also reported good earnings. EA reported good earnings. So there is some brightness to 2026. I think also, though, there's always such a mixed picture. The number of people who were complaining about how there was no funding out there for them to get anymore, because the venture capitalists have pulled back because they haven't had real hits from this generation in the last 5-6 years or so. So that's the mixed picture, is that people are still feeling a lot of pain out there. Some closing studios, some giving up on raising money. The VR folks are all thinking about taking their content and spreading it across all platforms, like mobile, PC, console. So lots of pain, but just a general mixed picture. I think Amir Sadat had said that he saw accelerated layoffs in January that he had not forecast, and so he lowered his forecast for the number of net jobs created this year after considering all the hirings and firings.
Yeah. So how much do you, I'd love to hit the group thought here, or hear from you, is how much of this is, it's not that the funding isn't there, it's that a particular vehicle or swim lane of funding that did emerge is no longer as easy, to go and get. So are we retreating back to more of the, as Richard Brown, likes to talk about, is how do we get back to sustainable development, right? The scope may not be this big. It's like, how do we start building smaller teams that can survive on
100%.
angel funding and things like that, which, by the way, is also the discussion then we have to people that are coming into the industry to say, your first job may not be in a big publisher anymore. It may be in a small studio that's doing this, and the growth curve for that's just going to look different. What say you all?
Absolutely. I think the trend is towards small teams. I think there's a few things. Like, we all remember when VCs didn't want to touch our space. Like, it wasn't that long ago. Chris Lee said to me a few years back when we caught up, like 5 years ago at that point, you could count on one hand the VCs who wanted to invest in games. And then COVID came about, and then suddenly everybody wanted to talk to game companies, at least, if you were game, consumer, whatever. And so part of it was just a course correction. They thought somehow that what happened during that bubble was going to continue. And that's why so many stocks went down too, because somehow, Wall Street also thought that trajectory was going to continue. So, so they went away. And I don't really think VCs are coming back, because it's really hard to show how a video game is venture scalable. Like, we're worried about different things than the VCs are. And, they don't want to make content choices again. But then you have the publisher side, and publishers don't want to take risks anymore either. And most of the publishers want to hear, well, how many wish lists do you have? And what's your audience? And all the things that a publisher traditionally provides for you. So I think it's forming this interesting time when new models need to emerge. And I think probably the most exciting one is project financing is suddenly getting legs again. And there are most of the funds who are at like the end of their VC life cycle are doing project financing. There's some new funds. There's these guys, Last Mile. It's the founder of MySpace has resurfaced. And a guy from Gem City, one of the founders there, they've raised $200 million that they're investing in project financing. So there's some exciting things like that, happening, and angel investment. But I've angel invested. There's only so much angel investment out there. So anyway, sorry, that was long-winded, but that's my personal.
Yeah, I talked to some people in the project financing business here too, and I think they see a model where they're not taking equity, but funding individual projects as a better way to invest in games that often sort of pull together people for a certain purpose, and then those people part ways, kind of like how Hollywood movies are made, right?
And now that we're getting these smaller teams with freelancers, it works better too. Like that model is finally coming into its own in a way that we talked about for years now, but I think it's finally happening.
Yeah, and I have covered a few different user acquisition funds that have formed as well around the money of big tech venture capital firms like General Catalyst, and they are picking particular groups to go after, spending money advertising to them, seeing if the growth comes from that, and then sharing the success with the game company that whose game they're promoting. If they don't score or make money, or otherwise it just doesn't work, then they take the hit as a financing company, and the game company does not take a loss. So I think that is another appealing model for game companies. I also came across a publisher who will give 60% to game companies, keep 40%, but when they pay out and try to start recouping their money after a game launches, they pay out in that same ratio. Like, they don't take all of the money until they recoup. Rather, they pay 60% to the developers immediately as soon as money starts coming in. And I think that's a different sort of kinder model as well.
I think the other thing that's becoming clear to a lot of developers who raise a lot of money from VCs is that that's not sustainable if it doesn't work. And Richard Brown talked about this at the Down the GameSpeed thing, that usually it's the third that actually works. So if you raise money for the first one and it doesn't work, and then the second one doesn't work, and you keep raising equity, you run out of equity to give away, because you're diluting your company. And so if your first game doesn't work and you've sold half your company, you're kind of screwed. And so I think that's why project financing is emerging as being so interesting.
Yeah. And these things have been around. It's just that their turn is coming again, right? People are going, well, equity thing didn't work out so well, so let's try something else.
It does feel like again is the word that's doing a lot of legwork there. Because I was thinking that too. I feel like we were talking a lot about this kind of funding model right before COVID or so, and then equity and VCs and everything lit up. But I do keep thinking as well about does that make sense for bigger games or smaller games? And stuck in my head is conversations with Teresa Long, who's the filmmaker who's working on the Brenda Romero documentary. And I keep thinking about how difficult it is to fund games that are games for learning, games for health, games for social impact, and things like this. And like maybe the documentary film style funding, where you're raising bits and pieces from different philanthropies and different interested parties, makes sense and will help that community. Maybe like it's still struggling. And maybe this like project-based financing model is where we're going to wind up heading for bigger titles, for indies, for AAAs. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
It takes really, it's a lot of work right now raising money. I managed to 3 funding rounds over the last year, not huge ones, mind you, but each one took a ton of work and the willingness to take small checks from people. Like it kind of takes a village right now to make a game. And I've talked to people who don't have the stomach for that, who are like, I'm not going to take a $10,000 check from someone. I'm like, I will.
Yeah, it's a fundamental component of making a game now, if you want to be able to make a second game, especially.
Yeah, exactly. So like check the ego at the door and prepare to work your ass off to raise the money.
Yeah. There was a couple of stories I wanted to call out that, they were just doing some clever things as well. In both cases, nonprofits really. So the IGDA Foundation is doing something for the second year that's called Download for Charity. And it's a sale that continues for developers who are sharing part of the proceeds with the IGDA Foundation. And they're extending the prices that you can get for the Steam sale that's coming up, and so maybe players will support this because they're giving 5% of the money to charity, right? So the IGDA gets the 5% there, and the sale continues. The developers get something like last year they had three major games and 10 small ones, and some of the major ones got a 13 times to 15 times lift in sales through this charitable.
Wow. So kind of like Humble Bundle sort of thing.
Yeah. And so then this year it was so successful, it raised $40,000 for IGDA last year.
Nice.
Through just the 13 games. So now they have signups again for the developers, and more than 70 have signed up for this year.
Right.
To participate, and it's a great way for a charity here to raise money. The game dev map also was carried by a single developer in his part-time, a lot like say Amir Safad. For 20 years he has been doing an updating the game dev map of the world, and he finally turned it in December into a nonprofit, and now is asking for donations as well. And so, he's finally found, it took a long time to turn it into a nonprofit, but he's finally found a way to actually, ask for and get money for
That's awesome.
The map as well. So that's Gaurav Kamago.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say.
Let's see. Other news that caught my eye this week was Unity appointing Bernard Kim to the board of directors, which seems like a great move. It's like congratulations to both of them. Both
Dave Helgeson stepping down from the board.
I know, right? Wow. That's crazy.
There.
Bernard had enough of the dating scene, I guess, right?
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Welcome back to games. They're more fun, I promise.
Yeah, no, I think he's a very sort of game leader, and so it's good to have him back in the industry in some way.
Yeah.
But he did veer off into the dating site.
There was some news covered about Roblox creators But all I saw was the headline. I haven't had a chance to read through it. Roblox creators average and 1.3 million in 2025. I think that's top. What is that? Top 100? Top 1,000? Oh, top 1,000. An average of 1.3 million in 2025. Huh.
Yeah. The numbers keep growing for user-generated content. How much people in the creator universe are getting. I can't remember the exact counts, but there were well over 8 million people who've generated money selling games on Roblox. Right?
Yeah. Well, when your environment is more like a social network and a commerce network than a video game, yeah, like that's where we're going to see that growth. And so all those just
funnel, right? The best games on Roblox are getting billions of plays, and they're compensated by Roblox for that. But the difficulty is that, maybe 50% or 70% sometimes of the money is going directly to Roblox, right? And the individual creators are happy to get a share of this and get rich off of it, and have life-changing money coming in. But it is a smaller percentage than most game developers would professionally go for or want, and so. But that's why I say more individual creators are successful on the platform than the likes of Electronic Arts, which you don't even see on top of Roblox because they don't like the rev share, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. The Story Kitchen people, they've got the rights to make 2 different Roblox properties into movies, and includes the Brain Rot game and the Grow a Garden game. So these games are so popular on Roblox that they think they have a built-in audience by making a movie about it.
I love that.
History is supposed to teach us, right, about ththese sorts of trends.
Hey, look at the Minecraft movie, the biggest movie of 2020.
I know, right? Yeah, holy cow.
Yeah. Yes.
Who would have thought that would be successful? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, everybody. I mean, the fact that also theaters had to go ahead and get people to stop going crazy, at different scenes, right? It's like fandom at its best, which is just awesome. Yeah. So I did want to touch, and I apologize for bouncing back and forth here. I've got some stuff going on here in the house and need to be pulled away for a minute. So there was a news piece that you wrote about here, Dean, about Virtuix expands Omni One VR sales to Europe after IPO.
Yeah.
Have any of you ever actually tried the Virtuix?
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Tried it multiple times for sure. Yeah.
Right.
It's what the good thing about it, maybe the experience is not totally as immersive as you would love it to be, right? But you do work up a total sweat. Like, it is serious exercise if you're actually running on a treadmill while you're running in a game, right? And sometimes it's hard to get to where you want to go, but you come out of that like just totally sweating, right?
Exhausted.
And, yeah. And so I think it's successful and it's starting to pick up. They have the capacity to make 3,000 of these machines like a month, I think, or so.
Mm-hmm.
And they're selling it more as a fitness device, really.
Right.
And I think they did go public. They are not making money, right? They're losing millions of dollars a year. They don't make that much in revenue, but the revenue in like the past year was up like 138%, right? So
that's
great. It's starting its own wheel there. But yeah, there were this was a micro cap IPO, and so it's not like going to be Discord where they're going to get billions of value. But they went out at $24 a share, and the price immediately dropped, right? So they had a good first day, but then after that, they've been hanging around $5 a share. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty steep drop for an IPO, and it means people kind of lost, you know, I don't know. There was some kind of speculative sort of action up on the first day there,
Yeah.
but now they have a long way to go to climb out and show people that, like, this is a justifiable business. And I think people are sort of naturally spooked by the fact that Meta has retreated from VR,
From VR.
and
Yeah.
platform is a little more shaky because of the biggest company that was supporting it now is kind of backing off.
Yeah,
And I
then
think
Valve. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And then Valve just announced, right, that they're delaying their VR headset, right, due to parts and some of the supply chain constraints and stuff, and
memory shortage.
Yeah, memory shortage. And I mean, so I had I tried earlier versions of it twice, right? And to your point, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm completely out of breath here, and I feel like I'm about to fall over, right? Because especially when you don't have you can't see where you're walking, right? Because you're obscured, but by VR, and so when you play games that are designed for exercise, right? Beat Saber. Anybody wants to step up and play some Beat Saber? Let's go. Anytime. Kick your asses. I've punched myself in the face playing it. I've hurt my shoulder playing it. Like, yeah, let's go. We go hard. But when you're trying to walk through Skyrim, it's like, I've just worked a 12-hour day, and everything is finally calmed down. I just want to sit for an hour and play, right? It becomes harder when you're trying to adapt games that are not designed for that physicality to a physical device. Having said that, being able to walk through an environment was pretty amazing. I just don't know anybody that has one, right? So it looks cool as hell, like the current design of it. So I definitely want to give it another go if there's a place where you have a chance. But I just thought it was interesting that they continue to expand and trying to make a market. And they've been at this for well over a decade, right? Building this stuff, right? So it is pretty amazing.
I'd love to see it in ancillary markets, like just the idea of using it to go look at houses, Seems like, boy, I would do that in a hot second. I'm looking to buy a house or whatever, and I'm like getting on that and being able to walk around your head's at the right height of the house. You can go up and down the stairs, and it sort of feels like that. And it just seems like part of the immersive experience you want when you can't get to a place is
Wander is always one of my favorite use cases of the Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
What is?
Wander.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wander?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Things like
it's super
Home
basic, but it's like
right? Gone Home or what became Edith Finch. Like those are perfect games for this,
Yeah.
Blueprints would be perfect for this type of a thing, right? Getting to walk those grounds and stuff. But anyway, all right. Since we're talking about some business stuff and the finance stuff, how about this one? This one was pretty awesome. Mattel acquires full ownership of Mattel 163 from NetEase, and how much was it? $318 million?
Oh wow! Nice.
Unbelievable, right? Yeah. Really amazing, and shows where Mattel, I think, head is at with regard to how they view the importance of games, mobile, and being able to take their properties out and, competing against the stuff that, say, a Hasbro is also doing. So I think this was a really, really awesome event, right?
Yeah, Mattel's getting very interesting because, they've looked over at Hasbro and they see Monopoly Go's success at Hasbro, driving $6 billion in revenue, right? They started this with NetEase, right? And about the same time a year ago at the DICE Summit, right, the story came out that NetEase was starting to back off on all of its overseas investments. So they're a big Chinese company. And part of the reason was sort of their switch to a new belief in the quality of Chinese game development in the wake of the success of Black Myth Wukong, right? And so NetEase, though, has left a lot of companies hanging, backing out, closing down studios, and otherwise, not pouring the money in to those companies the way they have in the past. I mean, it's fortunate that Tencent is still very enthusiastically backing a lot of companies. But yeah, Mattel is kind of stepping up. Like their chief strategy officer now is Ken Wee, and he used to be the chief strategy officer at Activision Blizzard, right? And Marcus Lysiades, I think, is the game head there as well. And so, they're getting more aggressive about games.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Hey, I want to apologize as well for having to bounce in and out like I did, which is why I made that fancy "we'll be right back" sign so I could ditch in and out of here. And I know we're now coming up to the end of the hour. This went really fast, so I appreciate my co-hosts for manning the ship, as it were, while I was gone. Susan, I didn't know if you all had a chance to talk. You said that there's another build for your game that's going to be dropping soon. Is that right?
Today. Yeah, our first big playtest build has gone live, and it's stable and pretty, and there's loads more to come, but I hope everyone signs up for the playtest. You just have to go to the Steam page, and if you really, really want in and don't want to wait, then just send me a message, and I probably have some keys I can get folks too, because I love the show, and I love the folks who watch our show, and I really want feedback. I cannot wait to see what people make. I know Chris made Chris. You, Chris.
I did, and I recorded my play session as well. So and I'm gonna go back and spend a little more time doing that, and that way I'll have a nice set of feedback for you with regard to the game. But so far I'm like, you're hitting all of the right beats, like in my heart, in the back of my brain, and I'm a twin stick shooter guy, so I'm like, yes, more of this, please. More of this, please.
Thank you. We did find out that we're an official selection in the London Game Festival.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
That's fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we are, let's see, right up at the end of the hour. So why don't we go ahead and talk about what games we are playing?
You playing Plumbing Simulator, Chris?
Yeah. We had a little water issue here at the house, and so we have contractors out taking a look. Terrible.
What are you doing for fun?
What am I doing for fun? So honestly, I am heads down GDC prep. We have a lot of stuff that's going to be going on at GDC. I cannot wait to show you what we're working on. Holy cow, it's awesome.
Somebody dropped that into my ear a little bit yesterday, and I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah, just so yes, and something that whoever dropped it into your ear has no idea that we're doing.
No, I'm sure you're doing all sorts of other stuff.
I am. So there is a group of us that said, how do we go ahead and do something awesome? So last night I had a chance to mess around with it on multiple devices, and I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm playing GDC prep. That's what's going on for the next month. Yeah. How about you, Dave?
I forgot I'm also interviewing Marcus Lysiades from Mattel on stage at
that's right.
GDC now at the Luminaries.
Yay!
Very nice.
Thank you for doing that, Dean.
That'll be fun. And we have our own sort of side event on the March 10th as well, the Crossfire debates that we're going to do for a second year.
I'm very excited about that.
Susan's going to be there.
Yeah, I would have loved to participated, but
Yes, I heard you're doing some community clubhouse stuff.
Yeah. So Amir, Satvat, and I are doing a fireside chat, and our fireside chat is titled "Why We Still Believe," a conversation. So Amir and I are just going to sit down and talk about why we love video games so much, why we love this industry so much. With all the pressures and trials that we've undergone, which are not new to this industry. We've been through this before. Why we're still so excited and positive about the future and the art of making video games. And so, yeah, it's going to be just a joyous conversation, and hopefully uplifting. And, it's easy to get kind of dragged down by when we see stuff happening around us there, but also remember why we're here. Remember, there's a ton of opportunity. And in fact, one of the stories that we didn't get to today was the CEO over at Supercell mentioned the best games haven't been made yet. Right, as we think about that, right? So yeah, doing that. And I'm doing another talk called The Future of Video Games is Play. and it talks about the changing shape of the way we interact with media across everything, not just video games, but movies, music, sports, all of these things, and how to basically capture the way society is changing and how you start building experiences, right, that match those changes. So yeah, GDC is going to be us. Plus, we're going to be doing a Boss Rush live stream, and we're going to be doing a Boss Rush after dark. So probably 11 o'clock at night, just like we did last year, because that's the best one. And I just got figured out we're going to pack 30 people into one room, which will be awesome and chaotic and sweaty, and who spilled beer on my my dresser, my clothes. But yeah, I can't wait. GDC is going to be amazing.
It's going to be a great week.
Sorry,
I'm heard already.
I am so excited about GDC. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm like terrified about GDC.
No. Yeah, I cannot wait to see. All right, Susan, what are you playing?
I've been playing a lot of games lately with Lee. The two of us have just about finished the storyline of No Rest for the Wicked.
Oh yeah.
Anyone know it?
Heard of it.
It is a stunningly beautiful game, like ridiculously beautiful. I have my issues with it. I definitely have my issues with it, but I really enjoyed it. It is punishingly deep, and just the systems are insane that you have to go through to unlock things in it. It's just like, I know this sounded like a good idea to somebody as a designer, but in actuality, the amount of effort you have to go through to upgrade something and the steps you have to go is just insane. It's so hardcore compared to like Diablo, but it's a lot of fun and it's really pretty. And Monster Train 2, because I'm a huge fan of Monster Train 1, so I finally grabbed the sequel, and I'm very much enjoying that. That's going to be a lot of my long flight to GDC. I think is going to be playing through Monster Train 2.
Nice. Friend of ours, Darren Gladstone. Hey, buddy. He said a bunch came out this week, but tried Chromagun 2, Die Hard, Mugenics, which I heard is amazing, and Roadside Research. So yeah, we'll have to check that out. Dean, how about you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bypass you there. What are you playing?
Still playing Arc Raiders. I was pleased to see last night they won the best online game. I thought they would get something like sound as well, but happy they got recognized. Still playing with folks like Mark Chandler, and we're surviving out in the wastelands there.
Nice. How about you, Mark?
Gosh, yeah, it's been a week here, so not a lot of playing going on. I'm looking at
what you meant to say. Oh, you know what you should have said. No, it's been a month. It's been a month this week.
Yes. Well, I've got Consume Me sitting on my desktop, so it may be what I play on the way home. My brother and I are talking about playing Arc Raiders, but he's been really into Uma Musume and Path of Exile recently, and I haven't played nearly enough of either of those, so I think maybe I'll pull those down.
I loved Path of Exile. I haven't played the next one yet, but the first one we played the hell out of it, Lee and I.
He is super into it.
Game.
Yeah, he loves it. Same with Uma Musume, which at first I was like, what a weird game this is. And then just looking at it as a mobile game, the production quality of this game is like crazy off the charts, amazing. And super engaging, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go play this. I gotta try this out.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, look, that's going to take us right up to the end of this episode of Boss Rush. I want to thank my co-hosts, of course, Dean, Susan, and Mark, for joining us today. And thank you all for joining us as well. Make sure if you like the live stream, let your friends know. Go ahead and repost every time we go ahead and post this stuff to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. Make sure you're also checking out the channel on Spotify. And of course, we have the link on the Chiron down there below. And once again, my apologies for having to bounce in and out for the episode this week, but I'm glad we were able to go ahead and get it together. So I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
And happy Valentine's Day, y'all. That's right. Yeah. Go make sure you're spending some time with the people that you love, or if it's just so, to take a nice personal day to go ahead and treat yourself right and relax and
Valentine's Day games. What games There should be Valentine's Day games.
Sims, maybe the Sims. That kind of feels
I'm-
Valentine's Day.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are, but their names escape me right now. But that's gonna go ahead and get us out of here. And I also want to thank
You
Dana
saying
Mark
that's
for
not like your core thing, Chris?
yeah, you know, my wife of almost 32 years is like video games.
No games today, dude.
That's what you do. And I'm like, you sure you don't want to play this? She's like, no. But you know, I'm sitting here drinking with my little Pac-Man mug, so I've got a little game tea. All right, that's gonna get us out of here. Thanks, y'all, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.